Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's do a complete beginner's guide to Dysmantle, shall we? I tell you what, I hadn't heard of this game. It kind of slipped past my radar, but it is a tremendously fun zombie apocalypse crafting survival game that has a very unique take by making a little bit more cartoony and arcade-like than something, say, as Project Zomboid or 7 Days to Die, but giving you this really awesome crowbar or attitude toward the entire environment where you get to just break everything to gather. And it's a lot of fun, and it's much larger and complex than I thought it would be based on that cartoony surface. So what we're going to do in this guide is fire up a brand new game. And I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm not going to tell you the fastest way to do anything or the places you want to go on the map. But instead, I'm going to explain my thought process and just tell you how to play. I'm going to show you the controls. I'm going to show you some basic tips and strategies. And we're just going to learn together so that you can play along or see if this is a game that you might be interested in trying out. Now, I'm going to be playing on PlayStation 5, and let's fire it up right here. So when you start out, you can adjust, some settings based on I'm an American, so, I'm used to Fahrenheit, AM, PM, but you can change these to whatever you want, and I'm going to now just start the adventure.
This is an automated recording sent from K23, the Crown Station. Everyone will be provided a safe transit as soon as possible.
We all do what we must, just to survive, just to exist. When our society started to collapse, I was prepared. My underground shelter was filled with food and supplies, but that was years ago. Nothing's left now. I have no idea what awaits me at the surface, but I can't stay here. All I know is that there's supposed to be an evacuation site to the east. I need to get there. I need to escape this wretched island.
And bam. Day 1. This doesn't look so bad. Famous last words, right? Okay, so our character was some kind of doomsday prepper and had an awesome shelter to survive whatever it was that was plaguing mankind here. But now he's out of supplies and he's coming out. You heard the automated recording. We're going to hear more of those as we go from the kind of twangy robot voice. So we'll see what that's all about as we uncover more messages. But now the game has opened up and we need to go to the east. Apparently we're on an island and there's an evacuation site for us to head over to the east to maybe figure something out. In the upper left of the screen on the heads-up display or the HUD, you can see I have a heart. I have 2 bars of health, which is a gauge representing how much health I have. I'll show you some more specifics on that in a second. In the upper right, you're going to see a meter that tells us how much experience we have. We're level 1, as the stars indicate, and as we fill that up, we could become level 2. And in the bottom right, you could see what we have equipped to the square button, which is our crowbar. And if I push square, I swing my crowbar. You can move the camera around by going to a more top-down view or rotating the perspective with the right stick. You move with the left stick. And you can hold down the square button to just kind of like keep breaking with your crowbar if you like. Additionally, you could push up on the directional pad to open up your character panel. This is our inventory screen. And remember how I said there were pips or segments of bar for the health? That corresponds to, as you could see in the kind of mid upper left panel, to our stats. We have 20 hit points. We're first level. We start with 1200 out of 4100 experience, and our survival temperature is within this range. Here's our modifiers. We have a 60% boost to offense, a 10% boost to defense based on our levels, our gear, other modifiers that we'll find. And our only feature is that we really have a backpack. Now, you can navigate this with the left stick, and you can push X, for example, on your outfit to get more information. This is where we're getting 10% of our block, is from our jeans. You can click on your crowbar, and this is where we're getting our 60% power attack damage boost from the crowbar itself. Now, you can't, it says you can hold square to power attack, but you can't actually do that unless you have an enemy targeted. So if I hold square right now, I just repeatedly swing, but you can only power attack against something that is targeted, and we'll talk about how to do that when we find something to target. Importantly, you see that this crowbar does 8 blunt damage. That becomes important because damage types affect what you can break in the environment. Not necessarily in the early going, but there's blunt and slashing, for example, which have different effects. And we'll just kind of learn those as we go. Now, I can use L1 and R1 to move between these tabs. So I have my quest panel, which is saying, okay, my main quest is to escape the island. And to do that, I need to go to the evacuation site east of our shelter, and we get a bunch of experience. Then I can come over to my collection tab, and it's empty because I've gathered nothing. I've found nothing, so there's nothing here. But once we start picking stuff up, it will all be a record that goes here, and we can figure out more information about it. So if I were to walk over, for example, to this grill, this barbecue, I can hit it with my crowbar, and this is dismantle. Get it? You're going to be dismantling everything that you see. You can see that a red bar appears above this grill. That's its health bar. And as it goes down, we're doing our 8 blunt damage, as you see. And we got some scrap metal. So a couple of things I want to say. If you hit something for a few times and the health bar is not going down, it means our weapon isn't strong enough. Generally, the game will tell you you need a weapon that does this much damage to break this, and your weapon is not good enough. Now, in the bottom of the heads-up display, you can see I have 5 inventory slots that have just popped up, and this represents what I'm carrying in my backpack. The scrap metal that I picked up has gone into the left slot on my inventory, and below that, you can see that there are 4 boxes, and one of them is shaded in. That means I can carry 4 instances of scrap metal in that slot. And if I get more scrap metal, it will go to an empty slot if it's available. If it's not, it will stay on the ground. I won't be able to pick it up. But something to know about this game is that everything that stays on the ground will stay on the ground, at least in my estimation, forever. So even if you have resources that you've generated by breaking stuff and you can't pick it up, you can come back later. Now you see how this barrel, it says upgrade your damage to 12. So I need to upgrade my crowbar to do more damage before I can break that. Whose camp is this, my character says. Well, it's mine now. And what that means is this game actually kind of works like Dark Souls in the sense that we light up our fire by pushing X, and bam, we get a little bit of a kind of achievement. We have a small quest. If we light 10 fires, we get a boost of experience. And when we camp, we will restore our health, we can level up, we can upgrade our gear, improve our gear, but all of the enemies in the area that we have killed will respawn. So just like in Dark Souls, if we camp, the enemies will respawn. So you kind of have to strategically use the campfire, at least in the beginning of the game, to mitigate how many enemies come back. But that's just part of it. Now you can break this chair if you want, and you do. Usually, you want to try to break every single thing that you can. And we want to break the tree, but can't damage it with this tool. That means blunt damage is not the way to go. Now, this yellow crate right here, you can push X to store materials, and you can see we get experience for storing materials, and then the items come out of our backpack and go into storage. For the most part, you want to put everything you can in this yellow box whenever you can. All of these yellow boxes are linked throughout the game. So you're going to find many, many campsites all over the map where you can save the game. Well, actually, you could save the game at any time, but where you can rest and recover your hit points. And you can use the storage boxes there and they are all connected so that if you're at the campfire, and let's just say I push X to camp, for example. If I do this, my character goes to this home shelter screen. It tells you what time it is. It's 9:31. It's day 1. I can upgrade my gear. I can go to my inventory, or I can leave. So if I click upgrade gear, for example, it says, hey, do you want to upgrade your backpack so that you can carry more items? Well, yes, we do. Or do you want to upgrade your crowbar so that it does more damage? It would require scrap metal and scrap wood. You can see on the right panel, it says you need 2 scrap metal and 5 scrap wood, and we have 1 of each. So when we're crafting from the campfire, it just takes anything that we've ever put into any of the yellow storage boxes and uses it. We don't have to put it in our backpack or anything like that. You don't have to have it in your backpack. It'll also count what you have in your backpack. But this is a fantastic thing. So what I mean to emphasize here is that whenever you can, just put stuff in your storage box. Okay, and I'm going to just stand up. I don't need to rest or anything right now. These question marks that you see on the map, and it says read, it says press square to strike and destroy objects. They're kind of like tutorials. They just explain things contextually throughout the game. I'm just going to hold down square. You're going to be doing this so much in this game, but guess what? Remember how I said it was like more arcadey? There's no stamina bar. So you might be used to, in a lot of crafting survival games, if you're gathering resources, well, you have a stamina or an energy bar or something like that that's going to deplete. Not in this game. You can break stuff for as long as you want, as long as your tool is strong enough. We're not strong enough to break the table. You see how it bounces off? Or the barrel. Investigate this. This says crowbar through obstacles, and it's just kind of teaching us about using the crowbar. Upgrade the crowbar tool and break through obstacles. So we need 2 scrap metal and 5 scrap wood, just like we looked at the campsite. So we can upgrade the crowbar. And then this will allow us to be strong enough to break through the dresser that's blocking our way. So let's accept this quest because we just get 600 experience for doing this. And you can see in the upper left, our current quest is kind of pinned up there. And I'm going to break everything I can. And I'm talking about everything. Chairs. It's tracking, by the way, how many resources we have. We have enough now. You can break these plants. You can get plant matter. It's a new thing. Break this plant matter. Just gather everything. And by the way, in case you didn't notice, every time we break something, we're getting experience. 30 experience for that chair. 14 experience for the plant matter. And then also, when we go to deposit these items, I'll push X to store materials at the yellow box. Each one of those is giving us experience. So you get experience for breaking and depositing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and camp so that we can upgrade the gear, and you can see what you're allowed to upgrade based on your materials. Will have this kind of green circle on it, meaning like you have the materials to do it. So that little badge means craftable, and you have to hold X to use the materials. If I just tap X, it fills up and then depletes. You have to hold X to fill it all the way up. Bam! Crowbar. And I'm going to go over here. And then now, our crowbar is stronger. If I push up to go into my inventory and navigate over to my crowbar, push X, you can see it now does 12 blunt damage. Additionally, its power attack damage has gone up, and it has a boost to critical hit chance. So, upgrade your gear whenever you possibly can. That's a huge help for us. So now, yeah, I can break all of this plant matter. And let me tell you something else about the game that's very important. The enemies will respawn, okay, for when you rest at the campfire, but nothing in the environment will. For the most part, like everything you break will stay broken forever. So you can really clear out the game. And now we can break this dresser, and we got through, and we get a boost of experience. We'll claim the reward. And now, you can see in the upper left, they want us to go to the evacuation site. So, I can't break this. I need more damage. I need 15 damage, in fact. Alright. I can break these chairs so that we can get out the door. But there's also a radio. Radios, if you listen to them, will give you broadcasts like we heard at the beginning of the game, and they can repeat, but usually they're all different until we hear all of them, and they will give us bits of the story. So let's listen to this.
All working evacuation transports are outbound. Please keep calm and wait for the maintenance. This is an automated recording sent from K23, the Crown Station.
Ah, the Crown Station. Automated recordings. Fantastic. So that is the message. Now we've listened to it once. We don't need to listen to it again. It's kind of stored for us. And then if you ever see the magnifying glass icon, it means there's something there that you can search. You just move over and you hold X down and the items pop out. And we got some scrap metal. And let's just see what we can break. I broke whatever was on top of the counter there. I can break the milk. I can break this chair. And here's a stove. You can actually cook with this, but we don't have any recipes right now. Maybe I should upgrade my backpack at the camp. Now he's saying that because you see that scrap wood right there? I can't pick it up. My backpack's full. So I'm actually going to run. Now this is a new thing I haven't told you yet. You can hold circle to run. And you can set this to toggle, or you could set it to hold it, whatever you want. There's no stamina, so just run all day long. I'm going to put everything in here, and then I'm going to go to the campsite. What I'm going to do here is upgrade my gear. Now, I actually don't have enough to upgrade it, but you can push square, as it says in the bottom center of the screen, to track the upgrade materials. This is like pinning the recipe. So I'm going to pin both the backpack and the crowbar by pushing square to select them, and then I'm going to close the campsite, and then over on the upper right you'll see to get my backpack I need cloth and I need plant matter, and for my crowbar I need more scrap metal and scrap wood. So let's do it. Can I break these barrels? Yes, I can. Look at this. We're now strong enough to break these barrels. They give us a ton of experience comparatively, and we get a bunch of scrap metal. We're also now strong enough to break this table. Let's break it. So we're getting all the stuff that we need. And we can open this door to the bedroom. And what's this say in the bathroom with this question mark? It says, use R to control the camera. Indeed. So we're going to break what we can in here. Plant matter, plant matter. We could search in this washing machine. There's some cloth, or scrap fabric, I guess it's called. And let's break this. See if we can break this bureau. Can't. Not strong enough to break that one. I recommend breaking all of the plant matter that's like growing inside the house, because a lot of the time they will reveal objects that were hidden. So there might be something under the growing vines and plants that you couldn't see before. So it's definitely worth our while to do that. Now our backpack is super small, so it's already full. I'm just going to run back. Push X. Now you don't need to stay here at the box. You can just push X and run away, and then we'll all just kind of go back in there on its own time, giving you the experience and the rewards. Can't break the alarm clock, or the grandfather clock yet, rather. That's fine. Whatever. Break all this stuff. Great. Okay, anything else I can break here? I broke that. Can't break that. Okay. So at this point, I feel pretty good about everything. I'm going to pick up, this plant matter and stuff that we've done. And I think it's time for us to go out the front door. We can't break anything yet. We're just not strong enough. I'm going to push X to open the door. And immediately, we see our first bad guy. So, it's an ex-human scrapper. A melee-oriented ex-human that finds strength in numbers but is relatively harmless by itself. So this is like the weakest enemy that we'll find that's hostile. And, you can see that they look kind of like fungal, almost like the clickers or something from The Last of Us. But they're ex-humans. Now that we have it targeted, you see the circle reticule with the kind of red X lines going. That means we've got it targeted. Here's where we can use our power attack. If the enemy is unaware and has their back to you, you also do bonus damage. So if I move up behind it and I just hold square to charge up and then let go, I'm hitting it. Now, you can tap circle to do this kind of combat roll, and it's incredibly helpful. Once you have the enemy targeted, just like in Zelda, you'll strafe around the enemy, and you can, dive away from them and still face them. The combat roll has a bunch of invincibility frames, so it's something you want to do all the time if possible. I'm going to run back here and start dumping stuff in. We've done it. Okay. And then break this. Can't break the trash can yet. Just kind of see what we can break. Here's a sign that says Western Gate and Eastern Gate. So we know the east is, as we would expect over here to the right. I should head east, but it might make sense to explore a little first. We got plastics for the first time. We could search this trash can. And I recommend exploring just to upgrade your backpack and your crowbar. We can break this mailbox. Now, it is worth mentioning that when you are hitting stuff, you hear how loud it is. It is making noise. So if there's an enemy that's nearby that's unaware of you, you can see above the enemy that little exclamation point. That enemy heard that noise. And if you make enough noise, it will kind of go and come to investigate. So we don't want that to happen. If possible, I'm going to search right here. And what do we can't pick it up. Oh, it's a tomato. All right, I'm going to go over to behind this enemy and just kind of use the power attack. And then dodge backward. Now, the other enemy came in. Now, what I like to do on these enemies is just walk backwards and then hold up my power attack. Because they're pretty bad. And you can, like, move backward while you're charging up your attack and usually hit them if you get the timing right. If not, just remember to just push circle to kind of roll out of the way. Especially right when you see them attack, you can roll right through their attack. We have enough resources to upgrade our backpack, so I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to go to upgrade gear, and bam, I'm going to hold it down. We've done it. And I'm going to keep tracking it, but we need a lot more to upgrade it. But now, this is what's so good about upgrading our backpack. Look at the bottom of the screen. We had 5 inventory slots with 4 spaces each. Now we have 6 inventory slots with 5 spaces each. So whenever you upgrade your bag, you get not only a new overall categorical slot, but instances in that stack that it can hold. So it's super, super important to upgrade your bag. Now, granted, you can always just run back to the box and dump your stuff, so it's not the end of the world. But it is worth noting. By the way, as long as you're not... Now, this enemy came back because I rested at the campfire. But as long as you're just putting stuff into the box, the enemies do not come back. So there we go. These enemies, though, are good to kill because they give you experience. And they give you cloth. So it's not that bad. Early on, anyway. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and target this. By the way, you can target by pushing in R3. You can turn it on if there's an enemy close enough by pushing in R3, the right stick. Or you can turn it off by pushing in the right stick. I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Got one. And then... Now, you see how it takes more hits on that enemy because that enemy is coming from the front. You do that bonus damage if you get them from the back. You've leveled up, return to the campfire, and invent a new recipe that will help you on your journey. So, let us run back here. And we're getting a bunch of new recipes. So you get a few things when you level up. You get new recipes that you can craft, and you get to choose between a random set of perks. So I'm going to camp, and then you're going to see that it says level up, new skill gained. So we got Inventor 1, which enables inventing and crafting. Now this is a set skill, but usually when we level up, we'll get a choice of skills between 3, and you get to pick like what you want. Based on your play style and what you think is best. So we got this, and now if we go to the, you see how we had the upgrade gear? We didn't have this invent and craft button before, but now we do. I push X on it, and it opens up this like large tech tree. And you can see that it goes off in 4 directions. So over here, there's the cooking pot, and we can craft this so that we can cook recipes at stoves. So I'm going to push square to track that. And then we can also craft throwing knives, which are phenomenal. It's a special item that lets us do range damage. So I'm going to track this as well by pushing square. So I'm tracking quite a few things, as you can see on the upper right. You don't have to track anything if you don't want to. I just like to have a sense of what I need. But if it's too cluttered, you can just untrack everything. At any time, you can go back in and just push square again to untrack an item. So if I'm just looking at what we need, it's simply some metal and wood for our crowbar, which is fine. And it's a little bit of fabric. It's actually a lot of fabric for a bigger backpack. We need ceramic for the cooking pot, which we haven't seen yet, and a lot of plastics and cloth for the knives. I actually am going to prioritize the knives over the second backpack upgrade because having knives will help us out with combat a lot. And right now, because we aren't in a position to... because the enemies keep respawning, basically. I don't want to spoil too much, but later you will get the ability within an area to turn off the enemy respawning, but we're not there yet. So because we aren't there and we have to worry about them coming back every time we want to rest, throwing knives just really help us deal with, you know, the waves and waves of enemies that we have to deal with. There's some cloth right there, and what you really want to do at this point in your play is just kind of test what you can break. See what is you're capable of knocking down. And look at this right here, for example. All of these cans and things and the trash bags, you'll learn what resources come from each type of container. There we go. And I'm going to pick up the cloth. Now, here we go. So you see this potted plant and that coffee cup? These actually break for ceramics. Our first gathering of ceramics. And then you could see, all right, can I break this lamp? I sure can. What's it give me? Just gives me a little bit of scrap. We can break the leaves. We can't break the TV. But we can break all of this. Can't break the table, but we got more ceramic. And you see how on the bottom of the heads-up display, the ceramics are green? And that means like they're a kind of a higher level of item. There's like common, uncommon, then there's rare, which is blue. So you just kind of see like how the game rates the rarity of the items. Just for an indicator. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's just something to point out. Okay, and I'm going to search in here. You can see there's a baddie out there. Open this door, search out here. Great, getting a lot of cloth. You see what we can break, and you know, we can't break that. Okay, I'm going to come out here, and I know I can break these trash bags and get plastic. So the trash bags give you plastic. These blue barrels give us scrap, of course. And then now we just need a bunch of scrap wood. But unfortunately, the fence is a little bit too strong for us. The tree isn't happening. Okay, what does this say? Hold down circle to run. Indeed. There's our run. So I'm just going to go around getting, you know, whatever we can. Ah, a lot of cloth. We're getting nice and close to the throwing knives. Now look, we found another campfire. And another perfect campfire, but no one in sight. Strange. It is strange. We haven't found any other people, so you can investigate. And it says some basic equipment is needed to even have a chance of survival. Find a map, upgrade your backpack, and level up. Let's accept this. And we've already, it retroactively gives us credit for leveling up and upgrading our backpack. Now we just need to find a map. Now I'm going to light this fire. Lighting the fire does not count as resting. So you don't respawn the enemies when you do that, but you also don't get the benefits of resting. But it just allows you to light it. And of course, here's a container for us to dump everything. We could search this, and we got some plastic, which is great. Can't break that yet. We can break the mailbox. Beautiful. Ooh, gave us a little scrap wood. These plastic chairs give us plastic. And what else can we break? Yeah, we can break this clothesline, apparently. Get a bunch of cloth. Break the barbecue. You can see that zombie above us can hear that. Okay. So now I'm going to open this door, and there's an enemy in this house. You can see, you have to kind of rotate your camera. And they're going to be impossible for us to sneak up on because they don't have their back to us. But we can just kind of take advantage of some power attacks. Those enemies, once you get the timing down, they're really easy. Even if you get hit, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so let's just break this. We're getting ceramics all over the place, which is fantastic. And we have enough to make a cooking pot. I'm going to search right in here. And now we found our first recipe, speak of the cooking pot, which is max hit points. So the interesting thing about cooking in this game is you can make a recipe and it gives you a permanent effect the first time you eat it. And then subsequently, you can use it to heal yourself. And that becomes important so you don't have to rest at the fire. Now we actually have enough tomatoes to do this. So I'm going to go to the fire. I'm going to camp. You automatically deposit everything when you camp. And it says campfires restore your health, but they also respawn the monsters. However, there's a way to stop the monsters from coming back. So it wasn't too spoilery that I told you that because the game itself tells you that. We don't know how to do it yet, but it's just important to know that it's down the road. Alright, so we're going to go to Invent and Craft, and I'm going to make the cooking pot right here. So now we can cook at the stove and make that tomato soup. Now they want us to stop monsters from respawning, and here's how we actually do that. We invent the Link Tower toolkit, and we install it at a Link Tower. We get 5,000 experience for doing this, but we need to actually be able to install the Link Tower toolkit. If I go to camping, just really quickly, and then go to Invent and Craft and zoom out, you'll see over here the Link Tower toolkit is down here. But it requires the number above the item, and why it's locked requires we have to be level 7 to get there. And we have to have done this level 4 technology to move down the path to this. So we need to get this at level 4, and we need to be level 7 to even do the Link Tower toolkit. But it's there. I'm going to grab these tomatoes, and now if I cook, cooking and eating gives permanent upgrade to various stats depending on the dish. The survivor doesn't have to eat to stay alive. So there is no hunger in this game. It's more arcadey, but you do get the benefit. Now notice how when we're cooking right here, I have access to that yellow box. So I only have 2 tomatoes on me, but there's 1 in the box, so I can still cook this. My cooking pot allows me to put in 2 ingredients, but you really can't experiment. It's just about you need to know the recipe, I'm pretty sure. So let's just go over. I'm going to go to the right, and I'm just going to select this recipe tomato soup, and then I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to say cook and eat. Oh. No. I thought it would just automatically put the stuff in there for me. Maybe you have to make it one time first. Okay, anyway. I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to cook and eat. And bam! 5 hit points just like that. Perfect! So, you can see our bar at the top left of the screen. Each kind of segment represents 10 hit points. Now we have an extra half segment because we got plus 5 hit points. Now this enemy did respawn. I forgot about that. And luckily we didn't really mess with them when we were cooking the first time, so they didn't come out and try to bother us, but that's funny. So there's a lot of good stuff to break in here. A lot of ceramic. There's some chairs. And we almost now have enough wood, which is what we're looking for to upgrade our crowbar, which will be huge. Okay. And we can search in here. Got some plastic. Sweet. Can't break that. Let me see. What else can we break? Not that. We can break, though, this kind of hat rack and this dresser. And that does it. And now we have enough to upgrade our crowbar, which you want to do that as fast as you can. We're going to search, or camp, rather, and then we're going to go to upgrade gear, and we're going to select our crowbar. And you can see this will take us to 16 damage, and it will boost up our power attack damage, so we're just going to do everything we can to get that going. And fantastic. So to upgrade it again, we need metal and ceramics, which we've been gathering. And now, we are a little bit stronger. We can break things like this hockey goal, even these trash cans. So we're getting better. Everyone, I think this is a good place to stop the first episode of this complete beginner's guide to Dysmantle. We've upgraded our backpack, our crowbar twice. We have cooked our first recipe. We've gotten out of the starter area, and we're making really good progress. We've even leveled up. There's a lot more to discuss and to do, but this is the start, and we're just getting our feet wet. I hope you're enjoying this and finding this to be useful. If you have any questions, please post those in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.